What's up, everyone? Welcome to Pat's Chat. You guys complained about the audio before. Boy, wait until you hear this one. Michael, how are you doing?
The audio boys have shown up to the party. I'm doing great. How are you doing, Doug?
I'm doing well too. We're both recording this on our phones. I am not driving. Michael is. I have confidence he
Allegedly.
can talk and drive at the same time.
Allegedly. It's not great. It's not great. It's not great, Doug.
Did I lose you there for a second?
It seems like it. I can't speak to what happened on account of. I would blame, instead of blaming me for once, maybe we could blame the interstate highway system of America for being insufficient.
Well, this podcast might need some editing for the first time in our lives, but we're just gonna power through this. I don't think that we have any opportunity to record otherwise or tomorrow or in a more official setting, so we're gonna try this. The Patriots won a preseason game, which doesn't really mean a whole lot, but I thought there were some positives to take away. What'd you think?
Yeah, I'll just start with the big one, and we can get into specifics, nitty gritty, players, all that. But just the operation of the team was so good, and I know again I said this last podcast, we got to stop comparing to last year, but getting onto the field and off the field and substituting and snapping the ball and not taking motion penalties and just being a real football team. It's nice to see, I think, return to New England and it's not just last year. The latter years of the Bill Belichick era were a little bit sloppy in a lot of those areas too. So I thought they looked like an efficient team tonight. Like forget that the Commanders rested 40 players, and you get into that later. But I just think you got to like the way the Patriots looked and came out and performed.
I would agree with that, and it was against Commanders backups. The Commanders did not play 30 players today. Patriots didn't have all of their starters in there either, but yeah, just the fact that they had so few penalties in that game. They had the one turnover where Drake May tried to throw the ball away, slipped out of his hand, went backwards. Mike Vrabel said that it was like a sloppy play or bad play or
Bad
something like that by
decision.
the quarterback, which I agree with, but I also don't know exactly what else. Like he was trying to get rid of the ball. Um,
It was
I
a
don't think he
physical
knew that it was
error.
going to come out of his hand backwards, but still, obviously not great when your quarterback has another turnover. But beyond that, I don't know. Like, I think that one of my big takeaways, he wasn't even one of my stars for the game, but people should probably calm down about Will Campbell after this game, right? Who's playing well out there?
Yeah, I mean, there was obviously the pressure on that one, but it wasn't like he got beaten. He was engaged with his man, and they ran a little game and twisted around him. So maybe that's one of the risks of rookies in a game. But Vrabel said after the game that they had those blocked up in practice, but in a game situation, it's different. So chalk that up to rookie. But yeah, no, he was moving bodies. He was getting out there in the open field. He looked like a first round draft pick offensive lineman. So for all the maybe ups and downs of camp, he definitely looked the part. And then the other rookie, Travion Henderson, obviously the opening kickoff, which he showed the flash, but after I think maybe two touches, I said, I've seen enough. Like, wrap him up week one, take him back out. Like, I've seen enough. I don't need him barreling over any other cornerbacks. Like, I got it. He looks the part. See you against the Raiders, buddy.
I think I have a take after this game.
What's that?
The offense just looks better when Trevion Henderson's on the field. Like, Ramondre Stevenson has been a great back for the Patriots. Obviously, he had some issues last year, but he's been a good pro. I feel like I'm ready to start Trevion Henderson in week one. I'm ready for him to be the bell cow.
I like that take. I mean, I don't know that I'm fully there because there's more parts of it that you want to see, but talent wise and explosiveness wise, I don't think there's any comparison to what you've got there. Like I guess you never know until you know, and seeing it against a lot of Commanders backups maybe isn't full confirmation, but just the player himself, like forget about the opponent. He's going to be a good player. And I was looking at it the other day. Like, remember when I came up in the second round, you thought they were going receiver, and I don't have the names of those three receivers that went in the second round after him, but so far it's looking like they made a good choice, and it's easy to understand why they didn't pass up that talent in that spot.
It's really just the speed and explosiveness. Like he's running at a different level, different speed, different. I don't know. He's just so explosive back there, and since he's so fast, it is hard to compare other players to him. But like when you saw Trevion Henderson have the 18-yard carry or whatever it was, and then Ramondre Stevenson's coming in and running between the tackles. Just like, I don't know, this offense just seems so much more explosive. And there's still going to be room for Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson and different backs on this team. But I don't know. I want to manufacture as many touches for Trevion Henderson as he possibly can based on what I saw. And I know it's early and it was only a few touches, but like you said, like you just kind of want to wrap that guy up and be like, all right, we've seen enough. You're going to be good for week one. You're going to be good out there. You're going to make some big plays. You're going to change the offense a little bit.
Yeah, and just to tell you, Doug, I agree with you in large part. I'm entering this stretch in Lexington where they just don't believe in the internet. So you're going to have to carry the podcast for a few minutes. I hope you're okay with that.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. There were a lot of other takeaways from this game. One was that we talked about wide receivers a lot. Not necessarily the greatest performance for the wide receivers competing for that 6 wide receiver spot. Efton Chisholm did the most, but a lot of that was coming in the second half when it wasn't the backups for the Commanders, but instead the third string. No one else who's legitimately competing for a roster spot at wide receiver caught a pass in this game. Jalen Polk took a carry and immediately left the game with either an arm or shoulder injury. Mike Vrabel did not have an update on him after the game. Javon Baker didn't catch a pass. Kyle Williams did not catch a pass. I'm not sure if I'm forgetting anyone. Kendrick Bourne didn't play. Keyshawn Bowie didn't catch a pass. Demario Douglas didn't catch a pass. Stephon Diggs didn't play. So that wasn't necessarily the most positive thing, but Mike Vrabel had some very positive things to say after the game about Javon Baker as a gunner and on special teams, which probably not the way that I expected Javon Baker to be making this roster, but it was very notable that when the Patriots did finally have to punt at the end of the first half, the gunners were Javon Baker and Brennan Schooler. And I talked to Javon Baker about playing gunner after the game, and he has never played on special teams before, and he's never even really played defense before. So special teams and even tackling are new for Javon Baker, but clearly they saw something from the man that made them think that he could play gunner, and if he's going to be their top gunner, he's going to be on this team.
You think so? Like he can make it as a special teamer, also depth wide receiver?
I mean, I would think that like if they had someone that they liked more as that gunner, he probably would have been in there, but maybe they're just going to give different guys a shot every game. But I don't know. That's an important role. I think it was going to be Marcellus Dial, but then he tore his ACL in practice, went on IR, and now it seemed like, I don't know, Javon Baker was the first guy off the bench to be that gunner. I don't know if it means that he's definitely going to make the roster, but the way that Vrabel was talking about him seemed like he's really encouraged by what he's doing on special teams. I don't love the idea of having a wide receiver who doesn't know how to tackle being your gunner, but I don't know. He made 2 tackles in this game and looked pretty good doing it.
Yeah, that'd be pretty wild. That no one had that. Well, all the hours we've talked about the receiver battle, we didn't have that. I do want to say, Doug, Kyle Williams should have had a touchdown, and he should have had like a 50-yard pass interference penalty, but neither one really worked out for him. But I just think in terms of making an impression, I thought that move he put to get open on the goal line was great. Joshua Dobbs didn't really want to throw him the football, though, and then that pass interference was pretty obvious. So there were some positives there, even if the stat sheet doesn't show it.
I would agree with that, and it certainly was not the greatest performance from Joshua Dobbs. I think that if someone else was throwing Kyle Williams the ball, he would have had, at least 2 or 3 catches out there. So that was a downside to this game. Not the greatest performance from Joshua Dobbs. Ben Woldridge played better. Drake May didn't play a whole lot. How'd you feel about how they divvied up the snaps? Were you okay with the amount that you saw Drake May in this game?
Yeah, I mean, selfishly, I'd like to see Drake May more, but I think it was understandable. Get some live reps. He said it himself after the game. That was the first time he's been hit since week 17. And I would quibble with that because he played in week 17 for about 5 seconds before he got pulled for Joe Milton. So he hasn't been hit in a while. I get that you don't want to just go crazy. So the what am I thinking? Joint practices. The joint practices are obviously a better way to get more reps without the contact. So, yeah, I would think next week you see him a little more, and then he slowly builds. But the fact that you know what I kind of like about it, Doug, I'll answer myself, is he had the turnover and it was bad, and got another chance and scrambled and ran for a touchdown. But then that was it. Like he still has to kind of stew on that turnover for the week. And I think Rabel, being the coach that he is and being as hard as he is on the player and being honest about it, I think Rabel will kind of like that. There's two things for him to sit on, and he's probably going to spend more time thinking about the fumble than he is the touchdown.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's probably accurate. Um, I one thing that struck me about this game, and obviously this is somewhat obvious, but after the game, Mike Vrabel said that Efton Chisholm's play strength stood
Yeah.
out to him. And I would agree with that. Like he was kind of running through tackles and he was made a contested catch. He looked good out there from a physicality standpoint, which you might not have expected from a undersized slot receiver. But it also just struck me that like in the NFL today, when you have an undrafted offensive player like that, you genuinely might not know what they look like physicality wise and play strength wise until these preseason games because like you cannot run through a tackle in practice, you cannot run through a tackle in a joint practice. It just takes these preseason games. So I think that was a big positive from Efton Chisholm, that if you had any concerns about like this undersized guy out of Eastern Washington, he answered some of those questions with his play strength and physicality in this game.
Yeah. I mean, he was good. Like it's obviously we've seen a lot of guys play well in the preseason at that position, and it doesn't always mean anything. But you can only do what you can do. It's not his fault that he played when he played, and he made the most of his opportunities. So it's interesting to see how it shakes out. I don't know obviously anything about the Jalen Polk injury, but it obviously didn't seem great. You got to wonder if that sort of I don't know if the balance shifts significantly. Like if that's an injury that is IR worthy, then you've kind of got a pretty big puzzle piece moving in that situation that we've all been harping on for months.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It wasn't like he had a shoulder injury at the end of last year. Looked like it might have been a shoulder situation in this game as well. I don't know that for sure, but yeah, if it would answer a question if he has to go on IR, because that almost makes the decision obviously a little bit easier. Where like, all right, you put Jalen Polk on IR, and then that eliminates one of those guys. So then it just becomes Kendrick Bourne, Efton Chisholm, and Javon Baker competing for one or two spots. And it really depends on when Kendrick Bourne's able to get back as well, because like if he can't be part of these joint practices against the Vikings, then I don't know what you do at that point. But yeah, we got a little bit more clarity on the wide receiver situation. Not a ton, but tight end situation. Jack Westover out there playing fullback, playing as a lead blocker on 2 rushing touchdowns. I think that probably helps his standing on the roster quite a bit, right?
I would think so because we know Josh McDaniels loves his fullback and lost the only fullback on the roster recently. So, yeah, the more you can do at a position where that third one is really a depth piece, like you're not really a part of many packages as long as Henry and Hooper are healthy. So
Right.
the fact that you can I'm going to make up a word, versatilize yourself and also head in the backfield and be a lead blocker. I think that I don't want to say sews it up, but it kind of does. Like it's really you're not using that third tight end unless something bad happened, as a pass catcher.
Yeah, and it would be interesting if it's Westover who winds up getting that fullback role, because he was a pretty good pass catcher at Washington. He's a decently athletic guy. I always kind of had some questions about whether he like had the physicality to do that, because he's honestly just like a very nice guy. But so is
Mm.
James Devlin, and obviously he had the hard-headed ability to play fullback and be the lead blocker on a lot of important plays for the Patriots. But yeah, I think that that might sew it up. Like if Josh McDaniels believes that he can be a fullback and then also bring the versatility to be a third tight end as well, that kind of eliminates two spots there at once. And I talking about James Devlin, obviously we'll talk more about the game, but I do think that we need to talk about the Tom Brady statue and unveiling
Well,
and
hold
everything that
on.
came of it.
I was gonna.
What were
I
your
was.
thoughts on the statue?
Well, I was literally gonna do the thing, Doug, where I kind of derail our podcast, but you did it for me, so thank you. I was gonna say the next statue outside Gillette Stadium should be James Devlin. So
Oh, I thought you were going to say Jack Westover.
no, well, I don't know. We'll see. I just think James Devlin. This is a total. I wrote a story once, not to brag. I wrote it on the internet, and it was just like he is the perfect Patriot, like the quintessential Bill Belichick Patriot, where it was like he was in not the USFL, but maybe the UFL. I want to say he was like this, converted defensive lineman, switched over to offense, and then became just such an like I joked like they won the Super Bowl every year. He wasn't on IR for a stretch, but it wasn't that much
Yeah.
of a joke because he was that much of a piece of that offense. So James Devlin, maybe not a 12-foot statue, but maybe like have you seen the bronze fawns in Milwaukee?
No.
Very small, maybe 4.5 feet. I think Devlin deserves one of those. But anyways, the Tom Brady statue, it's fine. I know people complain about everything, so it's like, is it the best pose? No. Does his head look a little small? But yeah, but you know what? Like, it's not bad. It's not a disaster. And that's kind of the standard when it comes to these things like Dwayne Wade and Ronaldo and any other ones where it's like, oh God, that's embarrassing. This is not any of those things. So in that sense, it was good. Would I have liked the pose to be a real one that Tom Brady did? Absolutely. Like the man played for 20 years, had all these iconic moments. Everyone could name five lasting images ingrained in their brain that would work for a statue, but instead they just kind of made one up, which I feel is kind of lame. But ultimately, I'm not going to sit here and complain. I thought the statue was pretty good. How about you?
I agree. It's not a meme, which is like the biggest win is that people are not going to be like posting pictures of this and how bad it looks for the rest of time. I think they were very smart to use just like a stable expression from Tom Brady rather than something with his mouth open or screaming or something like that, because that's where you run into trouble. I'm not going to lie, my initial thought was his head looks a little small.
Yeah.
And I simply just kind of wonder how that happens, you know? Like they said that this statue took 20,000 hours.
Which I call BS on. Like, what? How many people are working? That is 2.5 years of hours.
I know. But like I don't know, is it like a 20-person team? Is it a 10-person team?
I don't know, but I want to see the allocation of hours. Not to call Robert Kraft a liar, but I just want to see it. Maybe they billed him 20,000 hours and he paid it. I want to see it because that is too much work for a statue.
Yeah, I could do it in half the time.
Pat's chat sculpting on the side.
We're gonna we're yeah, I think we should undercut some of these people, be like, we'll do it for half the price. It's gonna look
Listen,
just as good.
it might
My
not.
other take, listen, I wasn't even outside because I had to do other work inside. So I'm not the person to be talking about this, but just purely based on the pictures and the videos, didn't the statue look taller than 12 feet?
Maybe like on the pedestal it's 12 feet, but that's a great question. I hadn't even considered that. Um, I have
I
a
think that like he is 12 feet supposedly, and then that would make the base 5 feet because Robert Kraft said in total it was 17 feet.
okay. I don't know. I'm really bad at
I don't know. It
estimating
looked
heights.
big.
Yeah. Um, you're probably right. My other take, Doug, is you weren't out there, so I don't know how much of the speeches you caught. Did you
All of them.
catch the speeches? All of them.
Yep.
I don't know why Tom Brady decided to go like roast mode. None of it was funny. I know the Jets fan one caught on, which is like fine, like a nice dig at the Jets fan, but most of it was like a lot of my friends are here saying, "Yeah, we love you, Tom, but a statue, really?" Or now they usually don't make statues unless you're really old, like Vrabel or Brewski. It's like all that was missing was the slide whistle and like the little pop, like a finger pop in the finger, like woo. And then I was waiting for him to juggle. I don't know why he went comedy mode there, but that was his choice, I suppose.
Wasn't there like a report or like a tweet or like a rumor or something? I don't know, 5, 10 years ago that Brady said he wanted to like become a stand-up comedian after he retired.
That I would know, so I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no on that one because I've never heard that. But
Okay.
I don't know. You probably think it for a reason. So
I probably do. I don't know. I might have that might have been like a fever dream. I I I think overall Kraft did a fine job. Bray did a fine job with the speeches. I hate the word cringe usually, but when he did the bit on the phone of pretending to talk to Bill Belichick, I did have a little bit of a cringe on that one.
I understand. I actually, so like obviously it wasn't very funny, but at least I'm on video now. By the way, I got home safe and sound. Um, you can't see me though because it's dark out. Um, because he wanted to reference like when he played for Bill, like nothing was ever good enough. So at least
Right.
there was some context to it. But yeah, it definitely was clunky. Um, not the best acting. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because last year when he came to Gillette, he just like cried half the time and was really struggling with his emotions and didn't want to do that again. He wanted to just enjoy it, which
Yeah.
I won't begrudge a man for not wanting to cry in front of millions of people again. Like that's got to be pretty tiring. So whatever. I found it interesting. Like Kraft's speech was pretty concise, and it was like, oh, this is a
Yeah.
nice little ceremony. And then it was like variety hour, like with Gallagher.
I was happy with how concise everything was. I was afraid it was going to be longer. It wasn't. Obviously, they had some time restraints because people had to get into the stadium who were outside of the stadium for the football game that was an hour and a half after the ceremony began. So I don't know. I thought it was decent. I guess overall it's a big win that it's not going to become a joke on the level of Dwayne Wade or Ronaldo or anything.
Absolutely. And I just want to say now that I'm home and I can see you and you can see me, we are seatbelt boys. We believe in seatbelts and road safety, even if we might podcast on the road. That's just because we're dedicated to the pod life. Like the pod life chose us and we're dedicated to our listeners, but we are safe as possible and we both strap it up. So shout out to us.
We are seatbelt boys. Based on last week or earlier this week's conversation, seems like only one of us is a turn signal boy, though.
I'm a turn signal boy. I'm saying I don't need other people to because I'm just too good of a driver. I don't need them to tell me what they're doing. I can already sense it. I want to bring up another player from the game tonight, Doug, and he's my favorite player in the history of sports. You know who it's going to be?
DJ James.
DJ James, always around the football. Had the interception. Pretty good. I forget Vrabel complimented him for taking advantage of the opportunity that's been presented to him. I know Marcellus Dial being injured, like no one celebrates that, but
No.
that's the way it works. A guy gets hurt, you get your chance. That's pretty good. I don't think he commented on his play strength though, but
Hmm.
he did like the player and had a lot to say about him.
I think he's gonna make the team. Like it's Christian Gonzalez, Carlton Davis, Alex Austin, DJ James, and Marcus Jones. I think that's probably the crew. I don't know
And
who's gonna be the backup slot cornerback, but maybe DJ James can do it. Maybe Alex Austin can do it. You need someone in that role, but like, yeah, that like he's taken advantage of his opportunities in like a pretty incredible way, where it genuinely feels like he gets a pass breakup every single practice, which is the way that you like start to move up the depth chart. But then when you get an interception in a game, like it was a relatively easy interception because the cornerback slipped, but he was already kind of making a break on the ball even before the wide receiver slipped. Um, and Sam Hartman like kind of sucked, but still, he made the play.
Unbelievable hair. Like it somehow just keeps getting better. It's he needs
Yeah,
a
it's true.
sponsorship, like a Vidal Sassoon sponsorship. But no, like you're right. I was gonna say that like Gallup slipped, and so that made the interception easy. But he was already breaking on that route and was jumping it. So like it was a pass breakup at the very least.
Right.
And he wasn't the only one. Marcus Jones, that pass breakup he had was unbelievable. Like the
Yeah.
ball was caught. It was offensive pass interference they didn't call, and he just kept fighting all the way to the ground to punch it out. Like that was one of the better pass breakups I've ever seen. He had that. Alex Austin had another one where he broke the arm in the end zone as the receiver tried
Yep.
to catch it. The defensive backfield. I mean, you got to give the players credit, but there's obviously an emphasis from the coaching staff on some of the like to stand out that many times in a preseason game. I thought tells you that they're being coached pretty well right now.
Miles Battle also had a pass breakup. I think one other defensive back might have also. Jalen Hawkins had one, I think.
Yes,
So
correct.
yeah, overall, a really strong day from the safeties and the cornerbacks. Craig Woodson, we've talked about him a decent amount on this podcast. He had, I think, 3 special teams tackles. So he was another guy who stood out from that same defensive backfield. One guy who probably should not be, like, I don't know, investing in like additional real estate in New England right now would probably be Anthony Jennings. He
Yeah.
played, I believe he was on the field for the final defensive snap in the fourth quarter. Truman Jones seems decidedly above him on the depth chart, which I would say most Patriots fans probably hadn't heard of Truman Jones before tonight. Um,
Well, they should be
I'll,
listening to the Pat's Chat podcast.
that is true because we've been talking about him for at least 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like Harold Landry, Keon White, Truman Jones, Caleb Von Chason, even like Braden Swinson, Elijah Ponder. Like those are the edge guys right now. And I think we've known all along that Anthony Jennings just like unfortunately doesn't really fit this defense. So maybe that's part of what they're seeing is that like, all right, if we play him a ton, how does he look in this defense? Can he get it? Like, not get it, but like, can he play the way we want him to? And I don't know, it kind of feels like it's not happening. So I don't know if that's like, can you trade Anthony Jennings? Can you get like a sixth for Anthony Jennings in a seventh?
Probably not at this point of his career. Maybe I feel like with a guy like first or second year, there's going to be a team that was higher on him more recently on the draft and then didn't get him. So probably not. Maybe a
Maybe you
seventh
could
player.
flip
Like,
him for a player.
yeah, I don't know. I was going to ask you when you were talking about him. This is why the Patch Chat podcast is such a success. I was like, the next podcast we should do a trade value podcast because you already have Henderson above Stevenson. Maybe a team needs a running back. Maybe a team needs an Anthony Jennings. You know, maybe that's a podcast episode we're going to have to consider because, or at least a segment or a part of an episode because there's a lot of people that aren't going to make the team, and that's an interesting way to look at it. But no, I mean trade value of Anthony Jennings, maybe a seventh, sixth pick swap, right?
Right. Or like another player on a team who doesn't necessarily like fit, or maybe they have like they have like too many wide receivers or too many something or others that like I don't know, like the Patriots lack depth at let's call it quarterback. Like I'm probably not gonna trade Anthony Jennings for a quarterback, but like tackle, maybe center, maybe get like a different edge defender, like an edge defender for edge defender swap. Um,
Yeah.
but like I would feel a lot more confident in his trade value if Bill Belichick was coaching the Dallas Cowboys and not UNC. Or let's
Mm-hmm.
say like if Matt Patricia was not coaching at Ohio State and was instead coaching the Detroit Lions or something. But like maybe Brian Flores, maybe you could trade him to like the Vikings or something.
Probably not. I just
Maybe
say
after
probably
next
not.
week.
Yeah, I don't know. The Commanders were here this week, and Terry McLaurin is not in the Patriots. So unfortunately, It's not a given, but yeah, I'm not sure. I did want to say this is not my observation because I told you I was working a Patriots game tonight for the first time since the Bill Belichick era. So I was a little, I was busy. I was occupied. Remember, so I was not honed in on this player, but the broadcast crew of Zolak and the McCourties, I think it was Zolak, giving Demontre Jacobs credit for playing a pretty good left tackle tonight. I don't know if he caught your eye at all, but he caught the broadcast crew attention, at least in sort of like an attaboy. Maybe he's taken to coaching pretty well and they like him. That was sort of Zolak's point, which I don't want to say solves their depth issues, but could be a
Right.
part of the solution.
I think he was solid from what I saw. I would also say that like Marcus Bryant didn't have any major issues, which Marcus Bryant was their starting right tackle. And then after that initial few drives, he moves from right tackle to left tackle, and Demontre Jacobs comes in, and then Demontre Jacobs took over at left tackle. I think Bryant moved Belker over to right tackle, but like Marcus Bryant, 7th round pick, didn't look out of place. Like last year, I feel like at the same time we were talking about offensive linemen giving up like 5 pressures in a preseason game, and that's not what we saw in this game. And sure, it does help a little bit. Obviously, the Commanders weren't playing maybe anyone with like 4+ years of experience in this game. So the competition level was not that high, but like it's still an NFL game. It's still rookies playing their first time against other pros. And a guy like Marcus Bryant not being like a disaster truly feels like a win since he was a 7th round pick.
Yeah, and first of all, I was big on him as soon as you told me that he played left tackle, and that's why Membu played right tackle. So shout
Right.
out to you. But it's like you don't have to go that. I'm not saying he's going to be a stalwart on the end of the line for years to come, but it's not insane to think they might have found someone late because the guy that plays next to him is Mike Onwenu, who was a 6th round pick and has been a very good offensive lineman at multiple positions for years now. So these things do happen.
That is very, very true. It's interesting because like midway through the first half, I do like a studs and duds type of thing for my gamers for the preseason. I was like, I don't have any duds. And I wound up doing Dobbs, May for the fumble, and I think like Monty Rice because he gave up like a 33-yard catch. But it was pretty hard to find negatives out of this game. Like I kind of feel bad for Monty Rice. Like even the kickers were perfect.
Oh
Parker
my
Romo
God,
hit a 57-yard field goal.
that was sick.
I think that he's like legitimizing this competition
Yeah. Oh, that reminds
because
me.
most people
We got
just
to.
expected Borregales to run away with it. But hey, if you're not like they were perfect. They hit every extra point, they hit every field goal. And I mean, yeah, if you're hitting a 57-yarder in preseason, like competition doesn't matter on that one.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
That reminds me. We got a tweet and I liked it so that I could remember it. And we got a special request to talk about Julian Ashby, long snapper. We were told
Yes.
to assess his play. I thought he snapped the ball well tonight. How about you?
I mean, it was really the only thing I was focused on.
The ball was
So,
spinning out of those hands.
do you know what I found interesting?
Yes, I do.
So, Bryce Beringer was talking to us a few weeks ago, and we were asking about Julian Ashby. And essentially, what he was saying is that, like, as a punter, you don't really ask the long snapper to do anything different. You just adjust yourself to the long snapper.
Mm,
So, like, he expects the long snapper to be, like, let's say, consistent, but like, he will change how he like catches the ball or like how he has to drop it or even like on a hold how to put it down
yeah.
based on just the long snapper's tendencies.
Well, because you can't really change it. It's like everyone. I'm big on this with golf because people are like, "Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that with your golf swing." And I'm like, everyone is physiologically different,
Right.
and there's only so much you can do. So if like you're the long snapper, your arms and shoulders and back and knees and hips are a certain way where you really can't change your form that much. So that is interesting. I do think we've maxed out the long snapper. I brought it up as a joke, but here I am talking about. I'm pulling a what's his name? I'm pulling a Cam A cord here, where I'm like, the ball is spinning a certain way, and then you get the laces this way, and the wind blowing. He was good at that. Those were fun Zoom chats.
He was. I mean, I do think as a long snapper, I'm gonna keep this going.
Oh my
I
gosh.
do think like you could probably put like more or less spin on it coming out of your hands, and maybe you could like either go faster or maybe slow it down a little bit. Maybe that could change some things. But I do like this idea that the punters are just like, or Bryce Baringer at least, is just like, do your thing, man. Like I'll figure it out.
I guess so. I'm moving
Show
on.
some leadership, some veteran abilities from him.
We've talked about the O line. We've talked about the quarterbacks, the running backs, the receivers, the tight ends, the defensive backfield. I guess we haven't talked about the front seven that much. Do you have a bottom line takeaway on the front seven outside of Anthony Jennings?
Thought Truman Jones looked decent out there, but otherwise, I don't know. I probably would have liked to see them get like a little bit more pressure after the quarterback. Is that fair to say?
No sacks, no QB hits even.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And I mean, like, Harold Landry wasn't out there, but you had Milton Williams out there. Christian Barmore wasn't out there. So, like, I'm sure the unit will look better as everyone gets healthy, but would have liked to have seen like a little bit more juice out of them.
Yeah, that's fair. Something to watch, I guess, as they go in. So, what do they practice Sunday? I imagine that'll be light work, and
Right.
then they're heading to Minnesota for Thursday practice.
So I think they travel on Tuesday,
Okay.
and then there's Wednesday, Thursday practice,
Oh, double.
Friday's
Yeah.
the walkthrough, and then it's a Saturday at 1 p.m. game.
Okay. And Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, is the last like training camp practice of the year, right?
Yeah, it's like the last one that fans are able to be there for.
All right. Well, it's getting to be that time of year, Doug. This felt. I would say this, and I might have been saying it to you before we started, or it might have been on the podcast for all I know, because it's late, and I don't usually stay up this late, but I live for the pod. Um, I don't want to. I mean, it's preseason game. The enthusiasm this offseason, you can feel it, you can see it. The people there. I don't know what the crowd was like for the game, but obviously saw the Brady crowd was enormous. It feels like things are building toward a real football season. And I know some of us said that after week 1 last year, but we were wrong. I don't think we're wrong this year. I think good things are happening, and you saw the first step of it tonight. It's I don't know. Did you feel it in the stadium? Because it just seemed like, I don't want to say vibes because that's more of a baseball thing, but it just
Right.
felt like things are sort of turning, in my opinion.
So the one moment I really did notice it in the stadium, I tweeted about this. I hate to repeat a tweet, but like they just briefly showed Rabel as the player, like during like intros, like when players were coming on the field, and like the biggest reaction of the entire day was just that, other than the Brady stuff, was just that like quick shot of them showing Vrabel. So like since I'm so close to the situation, I like see him every day and talk to him every day. You almost kind of forget like, oh, this guy is also like a legendary player. Like this is
Yeah.
also a Patriots Hall of Famer, and anyone in this crowd who's over the age of, let's say, like 32 years old has very fond memories of Mike Vrabel helping the Patriots win Super Bowls. So yeah, I think there is going to be a lot of hype. I think people are going to be psyched. Like they're going to be patient with Vrabel as well. That maybe they didn't have that same level of patience last year for Gerard Mayo.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Vrabel, I don't know that he's ever happy, like I'm sure internally he
Right.
feels a little like a light smile. He is so happy to have that cut on his face. Like he is like, yes, yes, evidence that I got in there. I'm nuts. So it did look good on him though. But yeah, he had a good operation out there. Like he's not messing around. And I think from the second we saw him talk back in whenever that was, January or February, I guess. There's never been much what's the word? Like there's an urgency. There's been no waiting around. There's been no, we'll get to that. He's just not screwing around, and I think the team
Right.
is early indications are they're reflecting that.
Who is the what would be the youngest age for someone who remembers all three of the Patriots' first Super
All
Bowl
right,
wins?
good question. That's a good question from a class of '04 to a class of '04 because we were obviously sophomores when the Patriots won their first Super Bowl. So I would say you'd have to be in fourth grade in 2001, right? Like, because I don't know. Like, I watched the Super Bowl in elementary school, but it wasn't, you were. How early can you really absorb a full Super Bowl? Third grade?
It's a really good question. So I I
Let's say
have
third grade.
memories of the 1991 Washington Huskies.
Okay, so that's really early. But like, I
But
remember watching.
like I don't know if I'm remembering like the equivalent of Mike Vrabel from those teams.
I would say this, like, I remember watching Steve Young and the Niners pound the Chargers in the Super Bowl.
Right.
So that was 90.
94.
Okay, so I was 8.
Right. So yeah,
So
that would be
that's
like
what?
around third grade.
Second, third. So 7 years younger than us would put you 32, 33. I think you're right.
Yeah.
32, 33, which would make you class of like 11.
Right. Doesn't that isn't that like kind of crazy though?
I
Doesn't
don't
that
like
make you
talking
feel like
about it.
pretty old?
I don't like
What?
I don't like this conversation in one bit, but it's important because yeah, anyone younger than that, well, I mean, you did catch on. I mean, Vrabel in '03 and '04 was pretty significant. So even if you missed the first one, with Vrabel smashing Kurt Warner in the face, maybe a couple years later you watched him catch a pass.
So
Did he
then
catch a touchdown
you're
versus
still talking
Houston?
like 30, right?
Yeah, did he catch a touchdown against Houston, or was that a 2-point conversion? I
I
know
don't
he caught a
remember.
touchdown against the
Well,
Panthers.
I guess you obviously you would remember him in like 2007 also.
Yeah. So yeah, it stretches long. In late 20s, guys remember '07 Vrabel, which I thought he was kind of gassed at that point. He just kind of rushed off the edge and got picked up a lot. But don't tell him I said that.
I'm gonna tell him you said that.
Like when they traded him, everyone was freaking out. I'm like, I don't think it's a big deal, guys. Like
Wasn't 2007 the year that he got like his All Pro season though?
a lot of people got it. I think Matt Light got an All Pro. If you were on the Patriots that year, you got All Pros. They were a great team.
That
Um,
is fair. That is
but
fair.
yeah, they traded him obviously a full year after that because he played in '08. They traded him with Castle, right?
Yeah, to that after 2008. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought by '08 for sure. I didn't think it was a big deal. Tell him. Go ahead. We'll have him on the pod.
I'm even thinking right now, and not to once again do this, but like, so Will Campbell's like 21, right?
Yeah.
So that means he was born in 2004.
That does check out mathematically. Yes.
It's like Will Campbell like barely even remembers. No, I guess so. Will Campbell would have been in like middle school during the second run.
Yeah. This is no other pod is doing this. I'll say this. I do have a Will Campbell comment while you're there.
So
I
he
had
was 10. He was between the ages of 10 and 14 between 2014 and 2018.
yeah.
It's kind of wild.
Um, he was on. I was watching fifth quarter, and they showed like some locker room sound. He couldn't stop smiling. He had fun putting on an NFL uniform, and I think he knew, like, he made some plays that made him feel like he probably feels like he belongs. You know what I mean? Like, he
Yeah.
probably knew that, but it probably helps to go out there, the bright lights. Tom Brady gets honored pregame. Like, it's a real deal operation, even though it's preseason. He couldn't answer questions without smiling, which he doesn't strike me like Vrabel. He doesn't strike me as a big smiler, generally speaking. So I thought that stood out.
Definitely. Yeah, I think he had a good. It was a good day for Will Campbell out there. Um, I'm not gonna keep you that much longer because
Well,
I'm
do you
also
want to just
tired.
real quick? We mentioned it. Do you want to talk about the sack because people are? I mean, the radio is going to go crazy about it. It was a game. It was a stunt. Like, I don't think Campbell did anything wrong necessarily because the move outside came a little bit delayed, obviously.
Right.
Um, but obviously when the guy runs around him, it's going to be a spotlight. So what did you make of that?
I'll have to watch it again, but
Okay, Bill
I
Belichick.
that play felt much more on Drake May than anyone else.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Like he was what 15 yards in the backfield.
It was a 15-yard sack. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think you can really necessarily block a guy for that long most of the
All
time.
right. All right. Fair.
Uh, if you're setting the odds, what are the odds that, not saying it would be in a Patriots uniform, what are the odds that Ben Woldridge one day starts an NFL game?
Well, he's in the NFL. He's playing quarterback. So the odds are better than zero. Right situation, right time. If he hangs around for if like and you've had good things to say about him, so I would say there is a 15% chance Ben Wildred starts an NFL game, which might even be a low estimation.
Yeah, it's interesting because like if he just gets cut after this year and then never even gets signed again, like, but based on what he did, like he was pretty good today. Like he had some decent moments out there. So I think almost like this game alone probably buys him another like 3 years on a practice squad somewhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to think just getting there. There's
Right.
how many Division 1 college teams, like 157 or whatever. Only 10 to 12 of those guys are going to the NFL every year, and a few of those aren't making it after that. So, and even fewer are sticking around for more than 3 years. So the odds are against you the whole time, but you always got to root for the underdog. So I'm not going to sit here and be like 0% chance he sucks. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
I like a happy story. So I'll up it to 20% just because of that.
Wow. I'll go 21% just to be a little bit more confident.
Damn it.
I I when we were in the locker room, they have lockers in the middle of the locker room for like a lot of like the undrafted guys.
Yeah.
And when I walked by and I saw this like kind of like skinny-ish blonde guy, I was like, who the hell is that? And it was Ben Woldridge. I just had absolutely no idea what he looked like. Zero idea.
Okay. Well, then I can't be the only one. And I've seen Efton Chisholm talk at camp this year. His press conference, I wasn't ready. He looked like G. Willikers, like he looked like he was right out of Leave It to Beaver. I didn't really maybe he wasn't so smiley when he talked previously, but it
It's fair.
was a funny press conference. Like it was actually I was chuckling a little bit, not laughing at the guy. I just didn't know he was gonna look so gee whiz out there.
The hair might have been like pushed down too from like a helmet or a hat or
Yeah.
something. So I'm not sure if that helped, but seems like a great guy, Efton Chisholm.
I bet it's similar to what I said about Will Campbell. He's like, damn, I just put on an NFL uniform and like kind of balled out. So that was fun. And it's like when you're that young, I guess we're getting old, Doug, because I look at a lot of these guys. I'm like, you just did it. They're so young. Like they're just so young. People are like talking about Roman Anthony in Boston, saying you like missed out on all this money. It's like he just made $180 million at his 21-year-old. Like there's so many
Right.
things I can't fathom about these young guys. So when it comes to like hiding emotion and being like overly stoic for no reason, I kind of like that. You didn't see it out of either of those guys tonight.
No, you really didn't. Yeah, no, we're at the point where like the players' parents are probably closer in age to us than the players, the rookies, you know?
Damn,
Yeah.
damn, yeah. That's like when Kevin Hart asked Don Cheadle how old he is, and he said, and he goes, "Damn," and Don Cheadle got all pissed. It's a great video. That's basically what I just did for us. So we're old.
Yeah. Well, I think since it's late and since who knows if people are even going to listen to this with the audio quality, we will be done now.
It's insane,
You also
Doug.
keep like you keep like scrolling every once in a while.
You do too. I think it's insane that we did this on video. Like, I hope this gets a million YouTube views of people being like, Why did they do that? Why is it still going? Like, when does the joke come? When's the punchline?
I don't know if we're actually gonna release the video because
Release
I
the
maybe we
tapes.
will. I don't know. I guess I've been holding it up.
Release the tapes. I tilt my phone up when I talk so you get like a good shot of my forehead. Look at that. That's what I'd look like if I was bald.
I'm also confused why the angle is so. I guess
It
if
doesn't
you
fill
flip it
the
like this,
screen.
it's better. But
Yeah,
like we're
I
in
don't
such
know.
a tiny, we're in such a tiny part of the box.
You have to post the video. Like, I will quit the podcast if you keep this video to yourself. I'm sorry.
All right, I'll post the video.
Um, One final thought. It's been a few days and I'm still bothered that you weren't fully on my side with Machine Gun Kelly. I just I just find it so patently absurd that like Alkaline Trio, like legends of the game, would have not been in existence right now if Machine Gun Kelly didn't put out a terrible album 5 years ago. It's bothering me, and like I
So I
think
disagree with that, obviously, but you're also kind of building a straw man.
he said pop punk was on life support and Machine Gun Kelly revived it, and I just think the only solution is that I have to fight Taylor Luan, which like I don't love my chances, but I just think if I have any dignity and principle, I have to fight a former NFL left tackle and prove that his tweet was the worst tweet ever tweeted in the history of tweets.
So I do look at this a different way, and maybe it's just like I think that pop punk was at its apex when we were in high school.
But it wasn't though, like it was to us, but like it wasn't the popular kids didn't listen to it. And that's what actually pisses me off about a lot of this nostalgia stuff now is everyone's like, "Oh, I'm going to like this show, huh? Can you believe it?" I'm like, "You weren't there in
I
2002."
know, I know.
Like I was like, the weirdo listening to that. So like I get what you're saying, like it was a moment and there were channels for it and avenues for it, but it still wasn't mainstream the way that it's sort of made out to be. Like there was no
Right.
common. How many people listen to like Blink and Green Day are different, right? Because they were on
What do you
MTV.
mean?
Like they were on MTV.
Yeah, but
They
they
were
were still
like
pop punk bands.
they certainly were, but I'm saying their level of popularity was there. There were a lot of people that listened to Blink 182 and Green Day and no other pop punk music. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Um, and I guess
But
yeah, that is a better way of looking at it. In that, like the like actual pop punk hasn't really changed in popularity since we were in high school.
the only thing that's changed is the name of the room. Like they used to play the Avalon and now they play the House of Blues.
Right. And like so like yes, but I also I guess I'm looking at it through the lens of like Taylor Luan wasn't going to like VFW shows in high school. So
Yeah.
his only like lens of pop punk is Blink 182 and Green Day.
He also, I might have seen he was listing like albums that were most important, and one was Big and Rich. And I know nothing about country music, but I know Big and Rich sucks too. So maybe he just likes the worst kind of every genre. Um, and that's just all there is to it. What year do you think Taylor Lewan graduated high school? He's
I
probably a
think he
class of
was born in
10.
91.
Oh, so he's like an 09 tenor. Yeah. I can't trust these people when it comes to these pop punk things. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot. That tweet really sucked. That's all I gotta say.
He's lost a lot of weight since his playing days. So you have a better shot today than you would have back in the day.
Yeah, I'm still 5'9" on my tallest day, unfortunately, and he's probably still about 6'6". So the
He might be
reach is going to
six
be
seven.
the reach is going to be an issue. The strength is going to be an issue. And while he's lost weight, I've gained weight in the ways that you don't want
Hmm.
to. So I'm going to lose the fight, but I have no choice but to attack in a fair fight. I'm not going to ambush him, but we're going to have to square off and fist fight over the sanctity of pop punk because I feel like a line has been crossed and I can't stand for it.
He also ran like a 4.640 coming out of high school. So I want to say that like regardless of how skinny he is, he's definitely significantly more athletic than you two.
What do you think I run a 40? I've never timed myself really. Maybe in high school. I wasn't good. I was slow.
Maybe like a 5'2".
Yeah. This is not going to go well for me, but you know what? Maybe we'll be friends by the end of it and we can find some common ground, but I just think sometimes enough is enough. So, I think we're podcast beefing with the bussin' with the boys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to
I
drag you
can't
into it.
believe we did. I can't believe we're at 55 minutes.
I know. I hope it sounds okay. Hey, can I ask the listeners this? Let us know somehow. We got some comments about the audio sucking on YouTube, and I couldn't tell if people were messing with us because the audio sounded fine, I thought. So please let us know, but be serious. Don't mess with us because we're
No goofing.
susceptible. We're susceptible to being messed with if that's what was
No
going on. So,
foolies.
I mean, we know the audio is tough on this one, so don't really let us know for this one, but I
Yeah.
don't know, Doug. It's 1:15. We should probably wrap it up.
Yep. Because I still have something to write. So I will talk
Oof.
to you later. I think we'll have to talk off air, but we'll do something after the Vikings joint practices,
Yeah.
possibly with Andrew Callahan. I don't know how you feel about that.
Ask him how he feels about Machine Gun Kelly, and then I can answer your question.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Well, I will talk to you again soon, and you guys will hear us again soon. Goodbye.